The series starts off with a young student, Shirota Takashi, explaining how he and the school's most famous student, Takane Takamine, are like day and night. He never expected to have the kind of relationship that would make everyone jealous of them, but here we are. One day, he was trying to bunk a class and decided to go to the gym equipment room. He was astonished to find the school president, Takamine, entering and taking her clothes off. He spots a bra, but it instantly vanishes and the memory is etched into his memory. Afterward, the teacher announces the grades, and just when she stands up to collect her test, Takashi notices that her underwear is coming off. A strange phenomenon occurs, and Takashi experiences the events all over again. However, this time around, she gets a perfect score and he doesn't notice anything unusual. After the class, Takamine invites him to the room where she explains that her ability to alter reality makes her undergarments disappear. And the reason Takashi remembers the course of events before her altering reality skill is because he saw her naked breasts in the gym equipment room. She then goes on to explain how she found out about this skill in her middle school, and how she started utilizing it to become the best athlete and studious student at the academy. Although Takashi hardly gets whatever she is saying, he just plays along. She then proposes that he becomes her closet and carries around her underwear so she can wear them when needed. Takashi doesn't feel that it is right and instantly turns down her request. She tries to stop him, but the two end up in a weird position and she makes him fondle her breasts. Suddenly, she screams and the other students arrive. Takashi realizes that it is her revenge for getting rejected, and the only reason he is avoiding prison is if he agrees to her proposal. He quickly pleads to her, and the other uses her skill to make him his closet. At his first job, she instructs him to put on her underwear for her and is amazed that he is closing his eyes like a gentleman. The next is her bra, and she wants him to keep his eyes open. The following morning, Takashi comes across Takamine at the entrance and the other tells him to see her later in the room. After he visits her, she gives him a bag, and upon opening it, he finds that it is filled with undergarments. As her closet, it will be his job to put them on her no matter the place. Takashi feels absurd that she could demand such a thing. And when he tries reasoning, the other warns him that she will make things turn around and he will have to spend time in prison. With no choice left, Takashi agrees to do it. Later in the class, the teacher wants her to read a poem to the students. Just as she is finished, a breeze flows up gently through the window, overflowing the classroom, and she is disappointed that it is so late. To make amends, she uses her ability to make the timing perfectly, and everyone is in awe of her poetry. Now that she has gone and used her skill, Takashi is astounded that she uses her ability for such small things, and a great adversary now awaits him. He has to put on the underwear for her and goes for it. However, he instantly realizes that he only put it halfway through and fears that everyone will see it coming off if she tries walking toward the teacher to collect the test. Since he doesn't want to make a scene, he instantly approaches her once more and uses her leg to put it on her completely. Later, Takamine teases him that he was worried about her, and reveals that she wasn't planning on any penalty for him. When Takashi admits to this, she expresses her gratitude, though quickly gets flustered. Another day, the teacher instructs Takamine to carry the worksheets to the prep room. As they are too heavy, students quickly approach her to help her, and Takashi is amazed at how everyone is willing to go out of their way just to be of assistance to her. However, he quickly realizes that Takamine isn't happy with him letting the others do the work and turns back the time. He approaches for her help, and the other reprimands him for his earlier behavior. After he gets an earful, she starts chatting with other students, and Takashi finds out that she keeps a profile on everyone. He is impressed by this until she reveals that she keeps a profile on him as well and has noted down all his qualities, the bad ones. Takashi realizes that she is passionate about her role as the student council president and wonders where the passion arises from. She also tells him that he is a pervert, which takes him aback, and he starts explaining that he never intended such a thing. After she continuously teases him mentally and physically, Takashi accidentally slips off the stairs and wakes up in the infirmary. She informs him that he was injured too badly, so she turns back the time, but doesn't change the event of him being unconscious as she wants it to be canon. She notes that while he masquerades as a gentleman, he has tendencies of a pervert, but still, he is a well-put-together student, unlike the majority of the boys at the school. She lets him rest some more in her lap and teases him once more by telling him that she isn't wearing underwear and he best not drown his face in her thighs. At the swimming pool, everyone is practicing like usual, and Takamine decides to race against their school swimming ace. Takashi and everyone else are amazed that she managed to beat the star, and he wonders whether there is something that she can't do. As she is a perfectionist, she decides to turn the time back and try one more time. While Takashi is staring at her picturesque elegant body, admiring her proportions, she catches his stare and he is embarrassed as he will probably get lectured later on. She manages to beat the school's ace even while backstroking, impressing everyone. After the race, Takamine approaches Takashi as he doesn't question her about the undoing of events, and the other is just flustered that he managed to see her polished, delicate body. Takamine knows why he isn't trying to ask and reveals that the only reason he would be reluctant to inquire about something like that is if he had taken his time observing the mermaid-like body of her, putting him to extra shame. Takashi wants to get to the serious business as he doesn't understand how she managed to pull off her ability when she isn't even wearing underwear. Hearing this, she quickly points out to her own breasts, and after careful observation, he finds out that she sacrificed her bra just to make an impression on others about her swimming skills. He quickly starts imagining things and confirms that those bumps are indeed her nipples. Takashi forgets to return her underwear to the president, and as he is alone at home, his lust takes control of his body, and without a worry of the consequences, he decides to take a look. Fortunately, his mind is back on Earth once he receives a call from Takamine, who needs the athletic underwear lying inside the pouch she gave him. Takashi immediately realizes that she wants him to get them to her right now, and just as he is thinking of going there, the thought comes to his mind that he is her closet, not a slave. He decides to protect his little bit of pride and let her wear something else. She is really stubborn about wearing her favorite underwear and tempts him by sending various selfies. Since he isn't flinching, she decides to head out without undergarments, and after he receives another selfie, he worries that someone might assault her as it is too obvious she hasn't put anything on. At the park, Takamine is eagerly waiting and is about to give up when the other shows up just in time. After he reveals that he is worried about her as it is nighttime and suspicious people might be around, she jokes about him being NTR'd, annoying the others. Although she does irritate him, she quickly shows her gratitude for worrying about her and starts making fun of him once more. As he is the only one who knows her secret, she doesn't feel bad about him worrying about her and encourages him to continue thinking about her. Even though it is unusual for her to show her gratitude, Takashi feels more happy about knowing that he is the only one who is familiar with her secret. After Takashi hands over the pouch, she finds it quite warm and begins accusing him of decency, but he clears himself off stating that he was just keeping them close while sprinting. Takashi notes that this was the moment that made his eyes freeze on her. Takashi has gone down with a cold and is unable to attend school, so Takamine visits him to check up on him. She immediately enters his room and tries searching for indecent magazines and stuff around, but the other assures her that she won't find even an inch of grossness in his room. She wants to cook something for him and teases him that she will wear an apron naked while feeding him. However, she turns back the event, indicating that she feels bad about vexing Takashi while he is sick. After she makes him soup, he decides to sleep for a little bit, and she immediately sneaks into his bed. The other wants to know why she is doing this, and she explains that he needs to release more sweat so that he won't have to suffer much from illness. Seeing as she stops, Takashi is curious about the reason, and the other is simply worried that her body will be smelly. As the two cuddle, Takashi's mind is brimming with emotions as the only thing between his back and the naked illustrious body of the student council president is a mere piece of clothing. He worries that something might awaken inside him, but ultimately he feels more relieved. She quickly turns him around and lets him rest his face on her bosoms as the oxytocin will make him relax a bit more, allowing him to sleep restfully. Takashi wants to know whether she is doing this simply out of duty or kindness, but before she can answer, he falls asleep. Later, while she is returning home, she spots some kids playing around and recalls how she was lonely one day until Takashi approached her. At her home, she still can't take him off her mind. After using all the underwear to turn things around, she eventually runs out of them and decides to go shopping. Even though Takashi feels embarrassed about accompanying her, she forces him to go with her and wants him to pick for her as it will be easier to put on the comfortable ones for her. He doesn't think much about them and stacks some, which makes her wonder whether he is even passionate about them. Since she wants him to carefully choose some, he buys blue undies for her, and she wants to know the reason for the exact color. He is too ashamed to admit why he likes the color and lies that there is no particular reason. Afterward, she wants to try them on and he is surprised to find her wearing stockings. It is easier for her to use her skill with stockings as they won't reveal anything to others, and she insists that she puts on undies for her. Later, while they are returning, Takamine corners him and is curious about the color he chose, dead bent on finding out the meaning behind it. Takashi doesn't have an easy way this time around, and he explains that her beauty reminds her of the blue sky hovering above their heads, and she instantly turns away. Takashi worries that the color isn't to her liking, but much to his amazement, she cherishes it deeply and wants to buy more so she doesn't have to use the precious underwear. Takamine approaches Takashi to inquire whether he is free after school, but the other has PE lessons, and he tells her that he will be there. However, he explains that as his coach won't be looking, he doesn't have to care about the pace he needs to maintain to finish the track. Takamine despises people with below-average ambitions and criticizes his way of thinking. Takashi doesn't care much about this and tells her that he would be content with anything. Although he wishes to experience life such as Takamine, he knows too well that it will never be possible for someone like him. Later, just as they are about to start the race, Takamine arrives, announcing that the coach instructed her to keep an eye on them and go hard on them. Takashi instantly realizes that she is mad about his earlier remarks and they get going. During the race, she notices that his form is messed up and confronts him about it. While she is setting up his posture, the only thing on his mind is her breasts clinging to his body, irritating the other as all he does is fantasize about degeneracy. As he didn't manage to finish the sprint on time, she instructed them to try out once more. She tells Takamine mid-race that she used the ability and isn't wearing underwear, as she is on a bicycle. He immediately gets behind her to cover up the view and manages to come out on top. She is impressed that he accomplished such a demanding task, at least for him, and decides to treat him to a drink. Takashi and Takamine attend the fireworks festival, and the former is amazed at how pretty she looks in yukata. The reason she has invited him to the festival is so the two could watch over other students and stop them from causing any sort of trouble. Takamine isn't wearing any undies as she thought it would be a burden on her and instructs Takashi to slip them on here. The other fears that someone will see her, but she assures him that everyone is absorbed into the festival. A couple spots them and immediately passes on the remarks that he is way out of her league, embarrassing him. After finding no trouble in the area, Takamine decides to reset and head back to the starting area to patrol another area. A couple is walking by and making plans for the night. This immediately penetrates Takashi's mind and he starts fantasizing about Takamine. He quickly gets back to reality and stumbles upon a couple who are sharing a drink mouth to mouth. This makes him imagine things again, and she resets once more. Takashi doesn't understand why she keeps on resetting and realizes that every time she resets, they come to a more isolated area. Even though various questions arise in his mind, he doesn't ask her. The two eventually find the perfect spot to enjoy the fireworks, and she thanks him for accompanying her, even though it is his job. Later, while they are returning home, Takamine comes to a strange conclusion that perhaps she wanted to find a spot where the whole festival was observable from. Takashi is shocked to find that they have the homework for their core subjects due today. He hasn't done anything, but Takamine assures him that if he utilizes his time, he might make it in time. After being encouraged by her, he resolves to work throughout the breaks and get this burden off his chest. During a class, Takashi notices that the perfectionist president isn't using her ability and is trying to restrain herself. Afterward, a student approached her, showing gratitude as she helped her pick a gift for her boyfriend. Another one wishes she could have bought something else, and just as she is about to use her power, she once more restrains herself. This is affecting her too much, and Takashi gets worried. He realizes that she is stopping herself just so he can focus on his studies, and he decides to confront her. Seeing her struggles, he insists that she uses the power to turn back the time to the day before, prompting the other to ask whether he would be okay with something like this. He assures her that if he worked it out today, he can do the same once more. As he is too insistent, she wants him to loosen up her panties this time, and after a bit of mental struggle, he goes for it. He is surprised to find that they are just back to evening and questions what was even the meaning of resetting. Takashi has a revelation of just how prideful Takamine is. She doesn't want him to take the credit for changing other people's lives. During the summer vacation, Takashi found himself in Takamine's room. It all started when he was having a problem and asked her about it. As it was too difficult to explain through texts, she decided to invite him to his home so she could teach him efficiently. In her room, he is having too much difficulty solving the question, and as Takamine is a perfectionist, she assures him that she will continue using her powers until he gets the solution right. After several tries, she decides to head down to brew some coffee for herself as it is too boring just keeping a watch on him. She asks whether he would be interested in a light meal as her mother prepared some before leaving, and he is astounded that they are alone in the house. As he isn't solving the problem correctly once more, she resets the time and concludes that he is intentionally doing that just so the two could be alone. Takamine tells him that the two aren't really alone as she has a pet cat. Takashi is a cat person and his expression instantly turns bright upon hearing this. He wants to meet the cat and she goes out to fetch it. However, as she enters the room, this isn't the exact cat he wants, but the other tells him that the cat is out and she decides to become the cat herself. While Takashi studies, Takamine plays the role of a cat so that he can focus, and he finally gives up as his mind is only set up on her. Later, just as he is about to leave, it starts drizzling and she instructs him to spend the night at her place. As he is staying up at her place, Takashi wants to know whether he can get a place on the floor to rest. The other assures him that she isn't that cruel and tells him about futons in the guest room. Suddenly, the cat, Kuro, barges into the room and Takamine introduces her. Takashi is instantly in love with the cat and he starts commenting on every quality of her. Takamine is impressed with this, and suddenly there's a blackout. As they don't have anything worthwhile to do, she wants him to tell her about some elementary school memories. But after he reminisces about a couple of them, she instantly gets bored and Takashi feels an aura of spite revolving around her spirit, though he doesn't understand why. After too much thinking, he recalls another precious memory when he used to go to a park with a girl and take care of an abandoned cat. She is instantly immersed in the story this time and wants to hear more. Takashi regrets that he never got her name and wants to meet her someday. Even after she reveals obvious signs, Takashi fails to figure out that the girl is indeed Takamine. Suddenly, lightning strikes nearby and Takashi realizes just how scared she is of thunder. As she is too embarrassed about letting him see her naked, she resets the event. Ever since this incident, Takashi feels that she has shown more of her vulnerable side to him. After the light gets back up, Takamine wants to head out to make dinner for herself and mocks him that she isn't making anything for him. After being put in his place, she shows him mercy and tells him that perhaps a little wouldn't be any problem for her. Takashi wants to help her in the kitchen and she proposes a role-playing game. The two are to act as a newlywed couple and the one who makes a mistake gets the punishment of remaining single for the rest of his life. The game starts off with Takashi returning home, and he is taken aback at seeing Takamine naked in an apron, who tells him that newlyweds to that. As they are eating dinner, she wants him to lick her thighs so the food doesn't go to waste, but Takashi soon realizes that it is just teasing. After they are finished eating, she wants him to go into the bath first as all the newlyweds do that. He doesn't think her data is accurate and tries to confront her, but she assures him that she was joking. In the bath, Takashi knows full well that she is up to something and tries to finish bathing as soon as possible to avoid any weird situation. However, he is captivated by her shampoo and she enters the bath. She intends to wash his back and reveals that she is wearing a swimsuit for his sake. After she finishes washing his back, it's time to apply her shampoo to his hair, and while he is trying to stop her, Takashi accidentally gropes her breast. She teases him further that they can only do that after the actual wedding, and Takashi instantly retreats. Takamine doesn't feel about this until she notices that he is actually aroused this time. Later, while he is about to sleep, she gets on top of him to show her dominance, and he realizes that she was just trying to erase her vulnerable side from his mind. On a hot summer day, Takamine asks Takashi to visit an opening campus event at a certain university with her. As she aspires to attend that university, she feels it would be a good experience to observe the atmosphere. Takashi worries that she will try and drag him into attending the university as well, albeit his grades can't even allow him to dream freely. She has bought open undies and shows them to him on a video call, embarrassing him. He doesn't understand the point of them, and she reveals that it is his fault as he was the one who first bought her open lingerie while they were out shopping, even though he just bought them on a whim. She constantly teases him and tells him that after joining the university, she will be looked at more often and may even join people in questionable acts, making him lecture her on how one shouldn't even joke about these sorts of stuff. She proposes that he should join the university and act as her bodyguard to stop her from immoral acts, and he finds it absurd that she expects someone like him to attend a prestigious university. Will Takashi ever start working hard to attend the same university as Takamine? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. For now, leave us a like and subscribe to our channel.